time I saw Michael Freeze.
I was going to say, last time I listened to Dave Nemo was just now when we're live from Road Gang Radio. Well, now Road Gang's tomorrow. Let's do some Nemo Nation today. Take it away, Jimmy.
Nemo Nation, we're getting it down. We're getting this format down. We're learning a lot of things on the fly. 6 months of work in 6 weeks. It's been nothing short of extraordinary. One of our favorite people is coming up in here in a moment, and I'm going to let Dave Nemo himself do the honors of the introduction. Dave, take it away.
Michael Freeze is joining us here, and Michael, of course, he is the features editor at Transport Topics. And Michael, good morning. And I don't know if I was on the air when I said this, but the last time we saw each other, you were looking for Jimmy. Well, you found him.
You found me, brother.
That was in Nashville at the convention center, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, it was. Yeah, Mr. Nemo. I'm glad to be on, but I'm glad I got the both of you. That's great.
Happy Father's Day, by the way, dude. You're a good dad who's got a lot of friends who know that about you, and I'm just thrilled to have you on the day after Father's Day. Before we even dig into what you guys are working on over there at the Transport of Topics, what did you do for Father's Day, Mike?
Well, the Father's Day I had was pretty relaxed. We were doing a lot of things around the house, and one of the things my wife wanted to do was just to make sure that I didn't do anything, that I didn't need to do anything. So I was just a relaxing day, and the family took me out to dinner, and it was pretty low key, but it was a pretty nice and relaxing weekend.
By the way, I just saw this comedian who came on the air and said, don't get Dad a tie, don't get Dad any socks, don't get Dad any sweaters, don't do any of that stuff. How about on Father's Day you just leave Dad alone? And there's something Go ahead, Mike.
No, I did get a pair of socks, so that you can't get away from that. So.
Well, wear them once, make sure you represent them, let people know you're getting down, and then after that's all said and done, just be like, okay, I've worn the socks, now can we please get back to me doing nothing and sitting in a chair and just watching some stuff on TV while people tell me Happy Father's Day. That's a really groovy thing. Dave actually is really interested in what you're working on next. Dave, you want to prep that question up for him?
Well, yeah, not so much a question, but Michael, one of the things that you're putting something together on eTRUs. That sounds like a dating site or something. The electric truck refrigeration unit, reefers, is basically what we're talking about here. I guess all of the numbers are not quite in on this, but it seems to me as that we're trending this way. How fast we trend, I guess, is now the big question, right? And how many bumps are in that road?
I'm glad you brought that up, Dave. The eTRUs, which are the electric refrigeration systems, or reefers, as they're commonly known as. There has been a push in the industry to have a greener refrigeration system where. When we're talking about a world of electric vehicles and alternative vehicles, we definitely want to bring that efficiency to the trailer side. And there's been a lot of innovation when it comes to that, especially in the sense of just, as I mentioned before, just the saving of energy costs, and what some of the OEMs are doing to pretty much maximize those savings for fleets. But also, as you mentioned, there's still that, you have the latest and greatest new thing, but for fleets, will it make sense? Will it be viable to bring in, an electric TRU versus the traditional ones that they have, and they've been serving well. But when you're talking about an efficiency standpoint, you do want to have a greener industry, but at the same time, you don't want to spend a lot of money, in order to save some cost on the other end, and at the end, you're actually spending more money. So that's what this article kind of lays the groundwork for. So it's just the new innovation of it, but also there's challenges ahead, and the fleets out there, the maintenance managers, the directors of maintenance who have to make these decisions. These are the kind of factors that they have to deal with, and this article lays that out.
One of the things about the word alternative, and this started just to dawn on me, I think, Michael, a little bit, is I don't know that alternative is a good word to use anymore, because to me it's counter to the standard. It's a kind of a wild idea, like an alternative lifestyle. What's an alternative lifestyle? And then you get on all these weird things and whatnot. Because the permanence of diesel is going to end. It's going to go away. And electricity will never go away. It's part of nature. Benjamin Franklin proved that on this date, by the way. He did the key and the, what do you call that thing? The kite thing on this date. Yeah. So what I'm getting at is that we tend to discount that thing about alternative, and there are so many of them out there, and we know that all of them are not going to survive. So where do we put our investment? Do we put our investment in something that's not going to last, like the CD or the cassette tape in our world? You know what I mean?
Oh, Dave, you're in my wheelhouse right now.
Oh, okay.
When it comes,
it's a good wheelhouse to be in. Thank you.
Perspective-wise, but it's the reason why I say that is it's three things. One, you're mentioning the word alternative itself. The word alternative meaning the alternative to diesel. I think that's what we're all saying.
Yeah.
And as you're right, we might get caught up in the latest and greatest. When you're talking about hydrogen, and then you might talk about just other fuels that maybe propane, or if you really want to get out there.
Maybe propane, yeah, and propane products.
Bobby, propane products.
Exactly. I mean, but when we say alternative, we're actually meaning alternative to diesel. So I mean, but like you said, it's easy to get bogged down into the newest and the latest and greatest. And the second thing is, you have in these alternative fuels, especially hydrogen. That is something that we do have the infrastructure for. That is something that will, relatively compared to electric vehicles, that's something that could be turned around when and if fleets are facing having to use alternative fuels. So I think when it comes to a stepping stone, I think that one is not much as a steep one when it comes to the other sources of energy for the trucks to go down the road. And the third one, which really I think Dave highlights that point where you're talking about the innovations when it comes to the CDs. When CDs came out, we were told that they won't scratch. It's a perfect sounding platform. We never have to use tapes again or even albums. So you see where we're at right now.
Yeah.
So there is going to be some type of bell curve when it comes to these innovations. I think we're in a moment right now where we're just kind of ironing out those kinks.
It's interesting too, because you brought up earlier the idea that, and I can sum it up by putting it this way: we need to be able to distinguish between what we want and what we can, because there are a lot of people that want electric vehicles everywhere, electric vehicle uber alles everywhere for everybody to enjoy. The problem is that while we might want that, we can't do that right now. We can do hydrogen, is what you're saying. And that there seems to be a resistance in the industry sometimes between like looking at what can be possibly done and simply jumping on top of that. That's what happened with CDs, by the way. They knew ultimately where they were headed. But in the meantime, they knew they could do CDs. They knew they could do them. So they got them out there, and that actually served as a really great bridge transition to get us to where we are with digital downloads. So it might behoove the industry, if they really, not the industry, but also the people who are invested in a greener world, to maybe get on top of hydrogen, since the infrastructure exists, and push that more than EVs, which don't have anywhere near what is necessary, either from a grid or from an infrastructure to get going. How to do?
I think I couldn't say this perfectly. It's the whole term of that, where you're talking about the bridge. I think that's where we're at in the industry. I think we're kind of in the mid of that, in the sense of we have to do something. I mean, the rubber is going to meet the road. I mean, the costs are coming in, and then you have these extenuating, factors with the tariffs, with regulations when it comes to EVs, with what the administration did last week. So there's a lot of uncertainty involved. So the industry in itself has to figure out which direction that it wants to go. So I think this is a space to be watched.
There has always been a political undertow of everything in human history. So but in our world here in, let's say, 20th century, 21st century America, infrastructure, transportation, it was never political. It is now, and it seems inextricably political. So what you don't like on a political level can affect now what goes or does not go on the side of the road when you stop and you need some kind of energy refresh. How can we? How frustrating is that for you?
I think. Well, I mean, from where I'm standing,
Frustrating.
It's frustrating in the sense that there's no clarity on the future. I think if we had a plan of where we wanted to go, if there was some type of initiative or some objective, well, let me go back, Dave, where the OEMs, one that comes to mind, Cummins, they have the Destination 2035 program where they're going to have a goal of being, zero carbon by the year 2035. I mean, those are the initiatives that we were, seeing, 2 to 5 years ago, where companies are having goals of being carbon negative, and with the actions of the administration right now in opting going to a different direction, there is quite a bit of uncertainty. These OEMs have invested millions into these projects to create a greener industry. And just knowing that the actions politically are going to provide some type of a roadblock for that. So having that clarity, I think, is the biggest hurdle the industry is facing right now, from where I'm standing. And it's just a point where those in the industry are saying, just pick a direction and let's move toward that. But as fragmented as the trucking industry is, that's a heavy load. So having some direction will help. Even if it's in the slightest. But I mean, it'll help positively.
Here's my takeaway. The lack of clarity about the future is due to politics, and always has been, because people got to have their say before anything can move forward. Speaking of having his say, Michael Freeze has had his say on the show this morning. Welcome to the new format, my friend, Fast and Furious. Where can people find you, Michael, on all the social medias and all the newfangled technologies?
Well, you can find me on X at Michael V. Freeze. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, and you can definitely get the latest in trucking by going to ttnews.com.
Michael Freeze, it's great to have you, brother. Thank you so much for making the time, and thank you for being on one of the initial Nemo Nations. We hope to hear more from you. I know we'll hear more from you. Thank you, Michael.
No problem. See you guys again.